All right, ladies and gentlemen, today's date is February the 2nd, 2026. The time is now 7:31, and this meeting of the Mayor and Town Council of Forest Heights, Maryland will now come to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hines. Councilmember Kennedy.
Present.
Councilmember Brownson.
Here.
Councilmember Little.
Present.
Councilmember McDonald.
Here.
Councilmember Hines. Council President Noble.
Here.
Mayor Lilly.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next, we will have a moment of silence. Thank you. Next, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
With liberty and justice for all.
Next, we'll have approval of our recent meeting minutes. We'll have approval for meeting minutes from January 21st. They were distributed on January 23rd. Are there any changes or additions to the meeting minutes from January 21st? Councilmember Brownson.
Yes. I have a few comments, corrections, edits. The first correction I have is that when they have the motion by approval of the minutes, it has Councilwoman Jonathan Kennedy. I think we mentioned that before. So I guess it hasn't been corrected in the template. Also, the information from Greenwell Consultant, it just has Greenwell Leslie provided, and I think her name is Feliz, F-E-L-I-Z. That's another one. And the last bullet under their comments, it says inquire whether the blueprint volunteers and it was the blueprint for education that it should have been. The next comment I have, it's quite a few comments here. When it got to the actions for Ward 2, some of the bullet points, it has Councilwoman Brownson inquired about police salary increase mentioned in report. And I said, in December, just cash disbursement report, it was reported that the public safety employees got a raise. Also, the next bullet is about Councilwoman inquired about whether this had been a discussion. I don't know why I inquired about whether this has been a discussion, but anyway, that, and then it says no resolution had been, and then just the sentence just stopped there. I'm not clear on what that means. And then the next bullet, another bullet, Councilwoman Brownson stated that the item was not in accordance. It's not the item, it was the salary increase was not in accordance with the charter. And salary increase it was a salary increase without council approval as stated in the charter. Then it gets down here to Mayor Lilly's report. it says, the third bullet, I'm not sure, but it says council will consider a resolution to approve. And I don't know what, approve what. And that was, and then just another comment on the Mayor Lillis got veterans benefit consultation from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., but it doesn't have a date, what day it's gonna be. And then, I think, let's go to the next page. It was quite a few. Oh, back on this next page, page 3, it has the resolution 0426. So it has, I make a motion to adopt resolution 04-26. And I think that was before the discussion. I think it's kind of out of order. And then it was motion by Councilwoman McDonald, second by Councilman Kennedy. And then after that, she had, I make a motion to table it. Well, the discussion came in between there somewhere, not that it didn't come in that order. And do I have any more comments? And then on the last page, it has Councilwoman dash amend the resolution, spell out how the funds are to be spent. I don't think I said amend the resolution. So I think that needs to be listened to again, but I know I said amend the resolution.
Thank you, Councilman Brownson.
Those are my comments.
Thank you.
And I just have a question. Is when we make the comments about errors and if it's found to be valid, I think she said, clerk, do you send us a new copy?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I was wondering because I know right here in the minutes you got Councilwoman Kennedy, and I think one time before we mentioned that. So I don't know whether you're using a template and just didn't catch it.
I'm not sure how it happened, but I'll make sure I'm careful moving forward.
Thank you. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Councilmember Brownson. Question, would you be open to, if you catch items that may need an update in the minutes, sending them over so the clerk can have them prepared at the time that the meeting takes place?
Asked her that once before, and she said I should rather that I do it at the meetings. And even in the email that she sends the minutes, she says hold them until the meeting.
Thank you. Any other changes or corrections to the minutes for January 21st? Okay, hearing none, we'll bring them back next meeting for approval. Next, we'll move into approval of the main agenda. Is there a motion to approve our main agenda for tonight?
I have a question. She sent a new agenda, and we have hard copies. So is there anything in the new agenda that wasn't in the hard copies that we got?
May I, Mayor Lilly?
Yes, you may.
Yes, so what is no longer on the agenda would be the swearing in of the beautification committee member, Ms. Smoot. I believe that was the only item that was removed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
I make a motion that we accept tonight's agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt tonight's agenda. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Hearing none, The ayes have it, and our agenda is adopted. Next, we will have a Black History Month proclamation. And this proclamation reads, whereas Black History Month is a time to honor and celebrate the significant contributions and achievements of African Americans throughout our nation's history, as well as to recognize the resilience, creativity, and strength of Black communities. And whereas the town of Forest Heights acknowledges the invaluable impact of African Americans on our shared history and culture, including their contributions to the arts, sciences, education, politics, business, and social justice. And whereas we recognize the importance of reflecting on the struggles and triumphs of African Americans in the ongoing pursuit of equality and justice, as well as the vital role they play in shaping the future of our community and nation. And whereas the theme for Black History Month 2026, A Century of Black History Commemorations, has celebrated the resilience, leadership, and cultural impact of African Americans across all sectors of society. And whereas honoring this legacy affirms our shared responsibility as a united people to uplift diverse voices and foster a more just and inclusive community. Now, therefore, we, the Mayor and Town Council of the Town of Forest Heights, do hereby proclaim February 2026 as Black History Month in Forest Heights. I move that we adopt the Black History Month proclamation.
I second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt the Black History Month proclamation. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed?
Aye.
Hearing none, the ayes have it. The proclamation is adopted for this month. Next, we'll go into council member and mayor reports, and we're going to begin in Ward 1 with Council Member McDonald. Councilmember McDonald, are you able to come off
Yes.
of mute?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. I apologize. I am doing a little too much right now. But anyway, so my report is just a few things. Let's see. What do I have? So I attended the Ways and Means Committee and the Finance Committee meeting and went very well, a good discussion. I hope we are able to move forward with some things we talked about, and especially the properties that we have in our coffers. Also, I attended the Oxon Cove Earth Day planning meeting to discuss upcoming Earth Day event in April. And let's see, Healthy Heights for seniors will meet again February the 20th. We also have a meeting, or had thought about having a meeting for to discuss the upcoming community garden season, open season. And we were going to have it on the 18th, but I found out, or I guess I realized that there is the Petra meeting is going to be on the 18th from 6 to 8. And so, Council Brownson, we may have to think about another day to have it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Council Member Little from Ward 1.
Good evening, everyone. Happy to be back here. Hope everyone is staying safe and warm. I would like to thank DPW for the wonderful job of keeping our streets as clean as possible with all the ice and snow we got. I would like to also remind everyone that Card and Crochet Night is every third Friday of the month. And also next month, March, is election day for the town. That'll be all for me today.
Thank you, Councilmember Little. Next, we will go to Ward 2. We'll start off with Councilmember Brownson.
Good evening again, everyone. I attended and chaired the Ways and Means Advisory Committee meeting on the 24th of January. And we, like Councilwoman McDonald mentioned, we had a lively discussion. So I will highlight some of the things we talked about. One of the things we talked about was the state of Forest Heights budget, specifically line items over 50 to 70% mid-year. And Mr. Frankenfield explained that as long as they don't go over the account line item, he doesn't worry too much about overspending by line item. And I thought, okay, well, so there were a few items that were, 80%, 90% spent, but he says he's leaving that to the department heads to manage. So they probably need to start looking at that. If he said if something alarming, very alarming, then he will, alarm the department heads about the spending. But other than that, he rely on the department heads to manage that. He stated that also I asked him about the audit report and how that relates to our fiscal finance, because in the audit report, it stated that the town needs to find ways to have income other than speed camera, because we can't rely on speed camera and red camera money to manage the town and run the town, because that speed camera money and you can only use 30% of it to manage the town. So even though there may be $1 million in that account, the town can only use 30%. So he said that 30% of the speed camera money is part of the total finance for the town, 30% for grants, and 30% for tax and commercial and residential tax, and then grants. So we need to try to manage our future spending, not depending on speed camera, but only 30% of that. But I did ask him about the red light camera. He said those funds can be used for whatever. There's not much regulation when it comes to a red light camera funds. So we talked about, well, what can we do to use some of that money for, public safety, as far as, maybe streets and sidewalks and infrastructure and things like that. So he's going to look at that. And then the town administrator gave us a synopsis on the Maryland Retirement Fund, gave us an update on that. And then we had several questions about it. And we asked Mr. Frankenfield, how can we finance it? And he said, well, we probably can. So we asked that if he could give us like a spreadsheet or some type of caption on to show us how we could finance the Maryland retirement plan. And he said, well, that would be quite a task, but if the mayor, directed him to do it, he would do it. But we said that, it's going to take a lot of money. Where's the money coming from? And that's what we need to, well, I feel that we need to see in order to approve something like that. And I also mentioned to him that, it would be nice if whoever is sponsoring the Maryland retirement plan could come to the town and maybe brief the council on it. That would be helpful for us to understand, what it means, because we asked some questions of them and it was like, well, that's a whole lot, So I think if we could get the sponsor or somebody that's counseling the other plan to come and talk before the council, I think that would be a good thing to do. I know we get down to the wire and different steps, but I feel that we all need to understand what this plan entails and how much the town is going to have to spend each year on this plan, and can we afford it? And our next meeting is scheduled for April 18th at 11 a.m. Oh, we also talked about the audit. I asked him, I said, why couldn't we get a copy of the audit before he went out? He said that they were behind. They had a short deadline. And then I think someone asked, well, when is the audit due? And he said October 31st. But then they got an extension to December the 31st. So, I thought when we hired the company that one thing they said they were going to do the audit. I know they caught the other ones up, which was great. But then this one was behind as well. So we wondered about that. And then I asked in the audit that they sent to the county, it says that the town, the mayor and the town council have seen this. And we didn't see it before it went to the council. So I think that's a big no-no. The other thing I want to mention, I know Councilwoman Little said, the roads, but I did get a lot of complaints from residents about the snow cleanup. So that's all I have.
Next, we'll go to Councilmember Kennedy, also in Ward 2.
Okay. Yes, I know some people may not be as happy as others with the roads, but I do want to thank everyone that was involved because that was a tedious job trying to keep one lane open. And even the news said that we haven't had anything like this since 40 years ago. So once it turned into a sheet of ice and then a 2-inch block of ice, at this point we're waiting for the weather to melt it. Other areas are a lot worse than Forest Heights is. I am glad to see that the residents are being courteous, when trying to pass each other on the road. I don't know how many people got a chance to join the Forest Heights Fitness Committee during this ice storm, because anyone that went out there trying to break this ice got a serious workout. Glad to see neighbors helping each other, dig out, shovel out. That in mind, we also got to be courteous. And if you didn't spend hours digging out a spot, it's a little inconsiderate to just pull in. But other than that, like I said, for the most part, it was good seeing people helping each other.
Okay. Next, we'll go to Ward 3, and we will begin with Councilmember Hines.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good evening and Happy New Year. This is the first time I've been back. I would like to start off with talking about the roads. And yes, I've been getting a lot of complaints. I am going to piggyback off of what Councilwoman Bronson has been saying. It is very good that we are trying to help each other. I don't know if we have a listing because I haven't been here in a couple of meetings, but I know that we need a list that, of people that can. I understand that there's something going around saying that if the young people come out, they get community hours. That's great. But we really need a list because it's still happening and they're still calling for a little bit of weather. And every time it melts, it's going to freeze. So I would really like to, maybe set up something, Mayor, if we can set something up so that we can maybe come to the table and find out what we did wrong or what we can do better. I would really like to be on that. So if we can start something, so that this can maybe not happen to us again in Forest Heights. Um, yeah. And then also, I don't know if this is where I should ask the question or put something on the table, can I make a motion?
This is a portion for reports, so we're having discussion at this moment.
Okay, so can you tell me
But
when
at some point in the meeting, the council can consider amending and adding a portion for new business if there's new items that we need to discuss that are business related.
Okay, thank you. Well, then that's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Hines, if you have a list of names that you'd like to give us, if that's what you're referring to, or a list of streets, we're happy to receive any information. I'm not sure exactly what it was, or if there was like someone in particular you were referring to as far as a list, but if there is, we'd be happy to get the names of individuals, or if it was streets. I didn't know what exactly it was you were referring to.
Okay, I'll get that list to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Council President Noble, also representing Ward 3.
Good evening, all. I just want to start out, since it is Black History Month, recognizing Sue E. McGinnis, the first African-American mayor of the town of Forest Heights. So that's our Black history information for the town. Also, in reference to the snow, I would like to see us plan a little better, be more proactive than reactive, because I did receive some complaints, and I know the storm was really bad throughout the DMV. But on some places, and this is, I guess, more communication with our residents, because we had mixed messages on the board, on the social media, and in the news. I guess it was in the newsletter, where to park. Well, some streets are very different than others, and some it's easier. And if we just imparted that, the funds that we received as it relates to public safety, if we could consider getting signs, permanent signs that we put for snow emergency, so people will know where not to park. Also, some residents on Cree, in reference to the National View, they have concerns about the construction, when it will start, and also what has the town done to, I guess, survey the condition of their homes now, because once that construction starts, it's going to shift their homes. Who will be responsible for it? And have we considered that? And also, I know we talked about also going in from Seneca. Has anything been done about that? So those are like the main concerns for me. And I also would like to say, I was appointed to the Prince George's Local Development Council. So that's why I was not here the last meeting, but I will be here going forward. So that was about it. So we just talked about the funding that is given to us. So I did find out we get not the town. The town gets its portion, but also it's over $6 million is allocated for 210. So just want to keep a check on where that money's been spent and how does it affect us. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll begin sharing in just a second. Okay, here is my report for February 2nd, 2026. First, I want to address the snowstorm. We had an unprecedented weather situation last week, and although it initially started snowing and trucks were out plowing, the conditions quickly worsened and ice went on top of the snow. And I personally was able to ride in some of the snow plows to see that once ice goes on top of snow and with the persistent sub-zero or sub-freezing temperatures that we had, the plows become less effective or ineffective in moving ice without causing damage either to the vehicles or the equipment. And so while we know that everyone was not 100% satisfied with the response, our team was able to quickly adapt and bring in some other vehicles and equipment, not just to push snow, but to break up and remove ice. We had to do this on several streets, and they were particularly streets that were steep or that were dead ends and had heavy ice buildup, such as Shawnee Drive, Spokane Drive, Blackhawk Lane, and Sachem Lane. I want to also say thank you to Public Works, our Chief Administrative Officer, and our Forest Heights Police Department for coordinating. Given the time the storm came and hit, they were able to use different means of communication to get information out to residents. We have learned also from this situation that we built some relationships. So if we ever have ice as a significant factor in storms going forward, we built relationships where we can have equipment on tap to bring in earlier so that we can keep the conditions safe and passable as quickly as possible. We also received an email from a resident that I'll read about their experience during the snowstorm. It reads, "Dear Town Forest Heights Facilities and Public Works Department, I would like to take a moment to sincerely thank you for the amazing work you've done in preparing our community for this recent storm. It says that it was not an ordinary storm. We received over an inch of ice that later melted and refroze into what is now almost concrete-like conditions. Despite these extreme challenges, the department remained accessible and they offered thanks for preparation and quick response. They also said that while the news had been heavily criticizing the county for poor snow removal efforts, they believed that Forest Heights deserved an A for the outstanding job they had done and our team's commitment to residents and setting a high standard for what public service should look like. Now, they did acknowledge that everything was not perfect. However, given the changes in the weather environment and the equipment that the town normally has on tap, they just wanted to say that they were appreciative and felt fortunate to be in Forest Heights as we could respond more succinctly, more quickly, and more with a personal touch. I actually went out to several houses during the storm. We identified some places where neighbors needed their sidewalks cleaned out or their driveways. We had Public Works to respond to a few houses where seniors lived and needed to have driveways cleared so they could get to doctor's appointments or even to get medication, to receive mail, to receive visitors, home health aides. We also put out an appeal to volunteers so they can reach out to us in the future. We can build a list of people who are willing to go door to door, even if it's not someone who lives directly next door to them, to help with clearing out ice or snow. I want to also give a reminder to residents, those who are able to shovel and to get out and move, whose mobility is not compromised, we need you to clear out your sidewalks as soon as you can, if you haven't already, so that walkers or people using wheelchairs can safely move around the town. We have a series of upcoming events dealing with veterans benefits. We're going to have one on Thursday, February the 11th. This is going to go from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the town hall. And it's going to be an event where veterans or their families can come to receive on-the-spot assistance relating to benefits and other VA or veterans services. There will be no appointment required, so this is an open invitation. There will just be a brief period during the middle of the day when the people providing this service will be taking a break. So between 12 to 1 o'clock, there'll be a brief reprieve. But if you're coming outside of those times, between 9 to 12 or 1 to 5, you'll be able to get serviced. I see a hand up. Is that Council President?
Yes, Mayor. On your report, you have Thursday, February 11th, but the flyer says Wednesday. So February 11th is Wednesday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thankfully, the flyer is what's going out. So thank you to the clerk and the administrative assistant who've gotten that correct. Wednesday, middle of the week. That'll be hump day, middle of the week for the veterans benefit consultation. Well, the day after that, on February the 12th, that's when the Let's Drive Safer stop sign citations will begin being issued. Right now, we're in a warning period where if you receive a violation for not stopping completely at the stop sign, you're not fined. But beginning on February 12th, citations will be $40, and the proceeds go toward public safety improvements. We're specifically looking to keep our kids safe as they're walking to school, and our entire community, anyone who happens to be on the roadways, we want you to take time to stop fully at those stop signs. And as I pointed out last meeting, we know that there's some serious instances of dangerous driving in the neighborhood, as my neighbor and myself were actually impacted when a driver speeding down our street crashed into our vehicles, his on the street, mine was in my driveway, causing significant damage, thousands and thousands of dollars of damage. That doesn't occur when someone is driving the posted speed limit. So we want to be careful of that. And I'm glad that no one physically was hurt. As we've mentioned, we'll have a National View community meeting, which is going to begin at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, February the 18th. That is going to be a forum to get some of the questions answered. Thank you, Council President, for bringing up some of the concerns. This is why we want to have these discussions so that the community can get more information face to face, and then also so that the developer can understand some of the real concerns that we have regarding the project. I'll mention that Seneca Drive and the walking path that is proposed to go there, council and the developer are still in the process of negotiating the finality of what that looks like, what the town receives if it agrees to award that easement. And I want to stress also that there's going to be no vehicular traffic traveling through that entrance except for construction purposes regarding to the trail. So as it relates to the project itself, construction of buildings, there will be no vehicular traffic through there. And we understand the concerns. I mentioned at last meeting that our strategic planning commission was going to be meeting last week. We had snow, obviously, so that meeting has been pushed back to Thursday, February 19th. And that'll be their first convening as we begin to take steps toward the 2026 strategic planning process, which will have a large component of community input as one of the important pieces of that project. As mentioned earlier, we have Election Day coming up, Wednesday, March the 11th. Polls will be open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. and you can vote at the town hall. Now, if you're a candidate who's interested in running for one of the 3 open council seats, you can register to do so by February 4th. You can get the certificate of nomination from the clerk, and any other information you need, you can get from her office. Madam Clerk, I see your hand. Did you have something to add?
Forgive me, my note is not for the election information, it's for the strategic planning meeting. That meeting will actually take place at 5:30, not 6:30.
Okay. Well, we'll have the official, thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll have the official notification go out once the agenda goes out and the posting, it'll have 5:30. Thank you for that update. And lastly, this coming Saturday, we have Coffee with the Mayor at the Town Hall. This is going to be an opportunity for me to listen to residents and hear some of your ideas and your concerns as we move into 2026. We're also going to have a movement component of this. In addition to having coffee served, you'll have a chance to listen to some music. And if you want to dance and move around, I'm working with the Move with the Mayor initiative, which is part of the National Forum, which is helping to educate communities on how to drive down blood pressure, diabetes instances, and other health disparities. So you can join us on Saturday, February 7th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. for coffee and conversation and movement. Looking forward to seeing you there. And again, this is open to all residents. And that concludes my report. Next, we will have public period. Public period is a time when members of the public can address the mayor and council to make comments or to ask questions. If you have a question and we're able to answer it tonight, we will. And if not, we will give it to the appropriate department head and we try to get an answer back to you within 72 hours, or at least an initial response within 72 hours. Is there anyone or any members of the public who wish to speak at this time? Okay, going once, going twice, and I'm hearing none. So public period is now closed. Next, we will go into department reports. And first, we'll begin with the town administrator and project manager. Are there any questions for the town administrator's report this month? Council President Noble.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson, for your report. Just one question for now. On the Black Hawk project, I know we talked about in the other meeting, once we voted for the vendor or contractor, that you will get a schedule of their, do we have the schedule or is that forthcoming?
It's forthcoming. They're preparing it now. We just got the signed contract over to them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, hearing none further, we'll go to the next report, which is youth and community programming.
Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Jackson, do you have something to add here?
I did want to add some more information regarding the snow response, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. First, I wanted to thank council members Kennedy and Little and also Mary Liddy for the acknowledgement of handling this monumental task over the past weekend. It was truly challenging, but we all worked together and we were able to get through it. I do have a more detailed report detailing the events of that storm. So beginning at approximately 10 p.m. on Saturday, January 24th, public works crews operated continuously without interruption throughout the duration of the storm. During this period, approximately 40 tons of salt were deployed across town roadways, with no fewer than 20 passes of salt and plow made on every street. As a result of these sustained efforts, the town achieved nearly 90% passability of all roads, with at least one lane of exposed blacktop on the vast majority of our streets. And I want to emphasize that a large portion of the county could not say this, but Forest Heights could. In addition to roadway treatment, crews provided and continue to provide direct assistance to approximately 25 residents who were elderly, disabled, or both. These residents received help digging out of their driveways through shoveling, salting, and plowing, ensuring safe access during these hazardous conditions. On that note, on Wednesday, January 28th, around midday, the State Highway Administration closed its salt domes in the DC metropolitan area, shutting all of us out from salt supply for our vehicles. But thanks to our proximity to the Prince George's County Office of Emergency Operations, for the first time in town history, we were able to establish a relationship with the county and its salt facility in Forestville. And we resumed our salting operation that same day. The town now has 2 sources to pull from for salt during emergencies. Despite the overall success of the operation, the storm caused significant strain on town equipment. All 3 salt spreaders sustained heavy wear and damage. One was disabled permanently with no option of replacement until at least next week. One required emergency replacement so that the town could maintain salting operations, as failure to do so would have severely degraded the town's response. Additionally, one plow suffered irreparable damage due to the weight and the rigidity of compacted ice, compounding these challenges. Prince George's County contracted and deployed over 200 pieces of apparatus region-wide, leaving essentially no private contractors available for supplemental support. In fact, the county has since reached out to Forest Heights and other municipalities for assistance along the outskirts of our respective jurisdictions. I'll come back to this later. Several streets, specifically Shawnee, Miles, Alden, Spokane, Black Hawk Lane, and Sachem Lane, proved to be particularly difficult. Despite receiving the same level of treatment as other streets, these areas experienced severe ice compaction that could not be removed using the town's light-duty service equipment. Through the assistance of our chief, Chief Ruffin, the town was able to secure a Bobcat who was deployed in another jurisdiction on Wednesday to break up the ice and establish a passable lane on those aforementioned roads. As a result of this experience, the acquisition of additional equipment, including a Bobcat and perhaps a new dump truck and a forklift, has been added to my operational wish list for future preparedness. There are several areas where the town's response could be strengthened going forward. Additional equipment and manpower, particularly personnel capable of operating light-duty pickup trucks and plows, would significantly improve response capacity. These vehicles have a relatively short and easy learning curve to operate. Staffing availability was also a limiting factor, as only 4 individuals, former Chief Reese, 2 public works crewmen, and me, performed approximately 99% of the work over that 7-day period. To help achieve this, mandatory recruitment across all departments, as well as the freezing of leave or the revocation of leave, will be considered in the future. All options are on the table. Further, the town would benefit from the previously mentioned signed and executed memorandum of understanding with the county for the purposes of mutual aid equipment. Our council member in District 8 reached out to me personally Monday evening inquiring about the willingness of the town to assist the county once our roads were passable. I have been sent a draft MOU from the county and is currently being reviewed by the mayor and town council for reciprocal action both ways. Next, enhanced early notification to Council President Noble's point, and continuing education for residents is also critical. Crews experience difficulty plowing certain streets, particularly Spokane, not only due to narrow roadway, but also because vehicles were parked on both sides, leaving no space to push snow or negotiate a U-turn. If residents were better informed in advance about parking expectations and procedures during snow emergencies, behavior may be modified. This, despite the town deploying text alert, digital board messaging, email, and social media notifications. The good news is I have already identified an existing funding source that will pay for these permanent signs and any cosmetic road repair due to the damage caused by this storm. While the town declared a state of emergency on Saturday afternoon, January 24th, which was consistent with Baltimore City, and only one day after the state's declaration, which was on Friday, January 23rd, additional advance notice may have improved compliance. Prince George's County, by the way, declared on Thursday, January 22nd. Accordingly, I propose the purchase and installation of permanent townwide no parking during snow emergencies signage, so residents are continuously aware of expectations. And again, I've identified a funding source for this effort. Looking ahead, with increased equipment, a dedicated snow response budget, and additional manpower, the budget which we have already, and additional manpower, the town can activate a Forest Heights Incident Command Center or a mobile command center post for future storms. This will allow me or my designee, alongside the chief or his designee, the mayor or other pertinent personnel, to focus exclusively on directing and coordinating public works, police, and other operations in real time. Again, thank you for the council members and the mayor and all council members on today for your continued support during these last 12 days.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. I'm very confident that you are always looking to improve our response, not only in snow emergencies, but in the way the town provides its services overall. Thank you for your personal dedication, time, effort, energy throughout the storm, both planning, coordinating, and also plowing. Councilmember Kennedy.
I know how crazy this can be. I remember when we had the 3 feet of snow. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. You can add me to the list as a person that can, help try and plow the roads. Because 4 people for this much snow / rain / ice is ridiculous. And if nobody has been behind the plow, then it's hard to comprehend.
Thank you, Councilmember Kennedy. Yes, I'll add, when I was in the truck, I got a real experience of what it's like when the plow goes down. The vehicle doesn't move smoothly. It's, pretty jarring. It feels like a roller coaster that's buckling. So it takes a lot of energy and effort to do this, to do it well, to do it correctly, to do it consistently over a long period of time. The last thing I'll add is that we're not done with our response. If you were looking out today or have been out of your home today, you'll notice that now that we had a very warm day where temperatures were above freezing or around 30 degrees, some of the snow and ice was softer or melting. Crews went out and pushed to try to widen entrances to roads and streets, and they'll continue doing so as we have more days that are warmer and as the snow melts away. And they're also continuing to salt, because we know things that melt can refreeze. So this is an ongoing effort just for the awareness of residents, council, and other people in the community. Okay, next we will go to the Youth and Community Programming report. Any questions for that report this month? Council President Noble?
Just, I guess for the sake, I see third Friday, everybody likes third Friday. So, third Friday, is the youth night, after the crocheting and card playing. So, so that's a good thing. We had a great experience the last time with the youth, being there. And maybe for some card players, we may come like 30 minutes sooner so we could get out of the way. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you for mentioning that, Council President. I was going to post the flyer in my report tonight, but for some reason I could not find it. It came out, it was sent out today, but I couldn't find it to get back up. But we're looking forward to the youth doing that on a regular basis. Thank you. Councilmember McDonald.
Yes, I just wanted to point out, can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, we can.
Okay, just wanted to point out that Mr. Holland will be helping with the outreach to the green schools so that we're able to get the school support for the upcoming event in April. And then also he will be helping us to come up with some kind of sustainability event in the fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember McDonald. Next, we'll move to the Treasurer's report. Are there any questions for that report this month? Council President Noble.
Thank you. And it's more for, I guess, the future and our assets, just listening to Mr. Jackson and some of the equipment that was damaged. If we could either, I guess, review what we have as far as assets and make sure that they're valued correctly. And then it may be a time where we may need to sell some things to upgrade or just prepare for the future. So, and I don't know if we have a schedule for when we do it as far as the treasurer, or is it just when we do the audit?
Let me jump in here. So we are looking to fill the role of the Public Works Supervisor, and that is going to be someone who's critical to inventorying equipment. We try to do an annual inventory. We did one last year, so we're looking at potentially doing one over the summer, especially when that equipment is needed less and when we're using lawn equipment. So we're going to place responsibility first with the Public Works Director to inventory it, and then we'll try to work those updated information into the audit to the finances for next year. My apologies.
And just a question on that, Mayor, because I know we were Public Works and the police department, they were tagging, had an asset management software. So I don't know if that's been updated or if we're still using that for the future, I guess, record keeping of the assets.
I'll defer to a staff member. Mr. Jackson, do you know the status on the tagging tracking?
I have inquired into new software in that regard, Mr. Mayor. The existing tagging software and hardware has been a challenge, is what I'll say. So we're going to pivot to some new software, but that is a priority of mine, so we won't lose track of what we have.
Thank you.
While we're on finance, or at least the treasurer's report, I'll also point out that for the next audit that we complete and audits going forward, we're going to be making a council review for the audit something that's documented in the path of completion. So that'll be something that's a non-negotiable. It'll happen before the audit is sent. It will be for review. And then we're also going to incorporate bringing the auditor in after they've done some of the work to speak to the council, just to provide some more regular updates and allow the council to be briefed and privy to some of the information that's going in, some of the findings as it's happening, not to change it, but just to be aware and to be informed. So that's going to be part of the engagement process for FY26's budget. Councilmember Brownson.
Yeah, I have a question about the equipment tagging. That tagging software was held by the police department. And I thought they passed that on. So are you saying, Mr. Jackson, that we're going to have to start the new process, the new tagging process all over again?
Well, at some point, we need to stop tagging altogether. We're going to have to resume tagging, but we may have to pivot to some new software, some software that could handle what we're trying to do.
Okay, so you can't merge what's already there if you go to a new software, because I thought anytime some equipment come in, you're tagging it. So you said, what have you been doing with the new equipment that's been coming in? How have you been tagging that?
So we haven't had any new heavy equipment. We haven't had any desks, car equipment on the administrative side that we had to tag since I've been here.
But we were tagging anything valued over, I thought, $50 or any. And I know we got card tables, so those should have been tagged. So tagging is anything to come in that costs money that's over $50 that we need to keep track of. And so you saying we haven't got anything over $50 since you've been here?
The card tables weren't over $50 individually. The card tables were somewhere around $20.
Okay, but you got 4 of them, so 4 times 20, 80. I mean, so suppose somebody walk out with them, we still lost. Okay, and I'll leave that alone. But I thought there was a process in place where anything that comes in of value is tagged. And it should be, right, Treasurer?
So just to clarify, over the last year, I went through an exercise and audited all the town's vehicles that were on the insurance policy, and I did see the tagging software in place. The police officer that accompanied me on that audit was able to pull it up on his phone and say, okay, these are across the street at the police department. These are at Fleet. So the vehicles are definitely tagged. And it's working. I'm not sure of the name of the software, but it's in place. On the assets over $50, I think we have to write a policy at some point. Tagging a $50 card table is probably in excess of what's reasonable. So yeah, I agree. We should have tagging, but I don't think the threshold's reasonable at $50. I think it's more like $2,000, $5,000.
I was using $50 as an example, but I
Mhm.
thought that when we were talking about that, it's just things like you got 5 boxes of pencils. A pencil itself is not $50, but 5 boxes may be worth tagging.
Yeah, I agree with you. For internal controls, I think it's a great process. We just have to find a reasonable threshold.
Thank you. Council President Noble.
Yes, I'm just on the tagging. I guess my concern is if we're reporting our assets and they have value, then that value has to match what we're tagging. So not only the vehicles, because if we have $2 million worth of assets, it's not just the vehicles, it's all those other things too. So that's the part that everything has to match. Am I right, Mr. Frankenfield?
I agree with you. So our fixed asset threshold,
Right.
fixed assets is what gets capitalized and what gets expensed when we get to the audit. Um, just as we talked about difference between GAAP accounting and budget basis accounting, if the town spends $5,000 on pencils, it's $5,000 as expense in the year it was purchased. When we get to the audit, on the accrual financials, we say, okay, that $5,000 is going to be written off over 5 years. I think the two match. So as part of our recent audit updates, probably with the 2023 audit, we increased our fixed asset threshold, meaning anything less than $5,000 is expensed in the year we got it for the accrual statements, and everything else is carried on that schedule that we've shared when we talked about what we can excess property to turn into cash. I think those two match. So it's, we start at $5,000. So it's lawn mowers, it's vehicles, it's UTVs, and they're up. Now, I hear you that there could be value in tracking computers, right? The average computer cost is going to be $1,000, but I don't think the two have to 100% match. I think we come up with a process and say, okay, we're tagging everything over $1,000, and then we track it thereafter.
Thank you, Mr. Frankenfield. Chief Ruffin.
Hey, so I just wanted the software that we're using to track the vehicles is my Geotab. So that's the one that we're using to track the vehicles if they needed that information.
Thank you. All right. Next, we'll go into your report, Chief Ruffin, the Police Department report. Are there any questions for the Police Department report this month? Okay, hearing none. That concludes our department reports. Next, we'll go into legislation for action. And the first item on our agenda is Resolution 07-26. This is a resolution of the mayor and town council authorizing the town to submit an application with the Prince George's County Planning Department for Planning Assistance to Municipalities and Communities Program, PAMC, to conduct a growth preparedness plan. I move that we adopt Resolution 07-26.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt Resolution 07-26. Discussion. So this resolution was on the agenda
Hand up,
at our
hand up.
last meeting. I'm going to do an introduction and I'll come to your question. This resolution was on the agenda for our last meeting, and it's related to a presentation that we had by the Prince George's County Planning Department last year. They offer limited services to municipalities to assist them in focused or very defined projects, and they let us know that they had capacity for us to apply to be assisted with some of the growth preparedness we'll need to take with National View potentially coming to the town, including town services, roadway infrastructure, schools, and other supports. Also to include dividing our ward representation and other things along those lines. So this is a resolution to allow us to apply for the program. They make a decision after consideration of the budget that they have appropriated for the year and other priorities, but this allows us to simply make the application to be considered. Councilmember Brownson.
My question was for Chief Ruffin's report. That's why I was trying to raise your hand before you got off. Can I do
Okay,
that?
so let's do this. We will finish legislation, and then we can go back to ask the question on the report after legislation. Just if you could, we can amend the agenda to go back, or we can just go back if you'll remind me after we finish legislation. I see a hand up from Council President Noble.
Yes. Question on this assistance to municipalities. So this resolution is to give permission for an application. It doesn't mean that we will be granted the assistance or not. But at the same time, was there any cost for the town, or is this just truly a relationship with the county to get this done?
This does not cost the town. We're able to leverage the county's planning department, and then also any costs associated is covered within the scope of what they allow. And this is one of the reasons they require municipalities that participate to pass a resolution just stating that they are planning to do this and they understand. And a couple more things I could mention is that the plan helps to strengthen collaboration between the county and the region. It enhances collaboration with county planning staff and other parties who play an integral role in ensuring consistency with the countywide plans, policies, and regulations.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember McDonald.
Yes, is this the same as the Neighborhood Planning Academy, Mayor Lily, or something different?
No, this is different.
Okay, thank you.
However, since you brought Neighborhood Planning Academy up, that is, I believe Council President Noble did something related to that, and it's helpful if there are members of our body who look into attending the academy.
Right, and I'll just say on that note, the academy is open to everyone, so not just elected officials. So residents want to understand the process, and they take comments and suggestions, what you see in your community. So it's a good place to understand just the whole planning process and how permits are issued.
Yeah, but a follow-up to that, Mayor Lily. So it's actually too an application that if you want to participate in the Neighborhood Planning Academy, that you have to go through. Yes. There's an application process that you have to go through to get into the Neighborhood Planning Academy, because there's a curriculum that covers essential topics in urban planning, community engagement, sustainable development, and so forth. So is that something that the town, and I guess to what you were saying, President Noble, is looking to get involved in? Is there one person that would apply for the academy or no?
May I speak, Mayor?
Yes.
The academy is open to the public, so it doesn't, it's the only it's no application. You just submit a request that you want to participate in the academy. There's a limit to the number of participants, so you may be able to get in on this session, or you may not, or you have to wait until the next academy opens up. But these are two very separate things going on here.
Yes, thank you. Let me go to Councilmember Brownson. I see your hand is up.
Yeah, in reference to this resolution to submit an application, have we, or can we, or is there a way to look at what the application looks like and what it asks for?
Mr. Jackson can tell us. He has been working on it.
Councilmember Brownson, the application asks what sort of projects are we looking to build upon in specific areas of the town, what our timeline is, what kind of help are we seeking from the county. It's very general. It's only like 5 or 6 questions.
that would be what projects we're looking at, that would be the Harbor View project that you're gonna put in there.
It is not restricted to Harbor View, but yes, that's one of the projects.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Council President Noble.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, that was my question. Was the National View going to be included, since I see we talk about developing wards, and because we know when this project is completed in the future that it's going to change the setup for the way we even govern. So we may have more, well, we probably will have more wards, or I don't know how the town will be divided. So I think that's primary for the county to participate or join forces with the town. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Resolution 07-26? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hines,
Yes.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Yes.
Councilmember Brownson,
Yes.
Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Councilmember McDonald, Councilmember McDonald, do you mind repeating?
Yes.
Thank you. Council President Noble,
Yes.
Mayor Lilly,
Yes.
the vote was unanimous. The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item on our agenda is Resolution 10-26. This is a resolution of the Mayor and Town Council, Town of Forest Heights, authorizing expenditures, reimbursements, program implementation, and execution of the M-NCPPC project charge agreement for FY 2026 in the amount of $300,000. I move that we adopt Resolution 10-26.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt Resolution 10-26. Discussion. I'll quickly give an overview on Resolution 10-26. This resolution provides authorization that ensures program continuity and service delivery. As you know, over the past 3 years, we've been awarded project charges through M-NCPPC, which stands for the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, in the areas of beautification and youth and community engagement. This resolution will help us to provide financial accountability and reimbursement clarity, because the resolution formally approves reimbursement of eligible expenses, ensuring that the costs are tracked, justified, and aligned with the approved budget. It helps us to maintain compliance with fiscal and governance requirements, ensuring legal, auditing, and procurement requirements for interagency agreements and expenditure approvals. And it allows us to execute work timely in a way that the staff can proceed without delays and maximize the funding for the benefit of the town. Are there any other questions or discussion related to Resolution 10-26? Councilmember Brownson.
Okay, I'm trying to understand this. So it says, whereas the town has been awarded project charge beginning July 21st, 2025 through June 30, 2026. So were we awarded $300,000 in July 1, 2025?
So we received notification at a later time than that date. My understanding is that it covers that period, but the agreement, the contract, and some of the awarding has taken longer. I'm going to go to Mr. Jackson for a specific answer because he's been engaged and has he has the timelines documented.
No, you hit it right on the head, Mayor. This project charge, this 300,000 project charge covers any expense that we would have related to beautification starting from July 1, 2025 through the end of the fiscal year. So it's the fiscal year 2026 project charge.
So what you're saying is that we can go back and charge any expenses that we had from July up until 2026? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, eligible expenses. I'm careful not to say any.
Right.
Right, yeah,
Eligible expenses as outlined in the document that's attached.
yeah, yes.
Okay, so when did you said we didn't get it in a timely manner. When did we get awarded this money? And we haven't gotten the money. You got to pay first and get reimbursed.
No. We got notified sometime at the end of the year. It took the county this long to write the contract and provide it to us. So we'll receive the funds after we turn over this contract.
Okay, so we turn over what contract? The one that's attached?
Yes, when we approve the resolution and we provide the contract back to the county and they sign, we'll be awarded the funds.
Okay. Another question is, do you think that we can, according to the contract, can we spend this money that we putting in there in this timely manner? Between June 30th, 2026?
Now, point taken, it's a lot of money, but we have a lot of expenses we can throw into it. And there's a lot of beautification we can do between now and June 30th.
So the amounts on the contract is just an estimate?
Yes, they're estimates, they're guidelines on what we can spend it for.
Okay, I see that. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Council President Noble.
Question on the contract. I see it's 6 items and they're all 50,000, but can that be changed or?
We're not bound by the 50,000. These are budget estimates that we provide the county that we anticipate spending. I'm sure we're going to be several dollars under or several dollars over, but our cap is of course 300,000.
Right. And do you think thus far for the town since July 1 that we have spent in any of these categories for right now?
Well, we have some budget expenses in the garden that we can take from the general funds and apply to the grant. We have some tools and equipment that we can purchase regarding watering flowers. We can replace some equipment on our dump truck. As you can see, we can buy more flowers, mulch, and landscaping. So we can do a lot with this. So I anticipate that we'll be able to find a lot of usage quite immediately.
And where it says beautification and volunteer support, is that just for the beautification or is that to employ like landscapers to put down the flowers?
That's a good question. I can seek clarification about hiring. I don't want to provide you any false information, but I'll find you. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'll go to Councilmember Kennedy.
So is there a limitation on, I guess you had mentioned the equipment? Cost-wise?
Is there a restriction on the amount of equipment we can buy?
Well, I mean, like for
Dollar amount?
example, I mean, a bobcat can be used a lot of different ways. I mean, beautification. There's different attachments you can get. It'd be nice to be able to get something that the town would greatly benefit from.
Absolutely. I'm already eyeing this grant for that purpose, and I already know 50,000 won't be enough for a Bobcat.
A new one, you're correct. It's ridiculous how much a used one costs.
Yes. So again, these are guidelines. They're not necessarily ceilings.
Okay, thank you.
All right. There's no further discussion. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hines. Forgive me if it sounds like I'm yelling. Councilmember Kennedy,
Yes.
Councilmember Brownson,
Yes.
Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Councilmember McDonald,
Yes.
Councilmember Hines,
Yes,
thank you.
thank you.
Council President Noble,
Yes.
Mayor Lilly,
Yes.
the vote was unanimous, the motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next, we'll go to Resolution 11-26, improving officer retention in FY26 by redirecting public safety funds to cost of living pay increases. I move that we adopt Resolution 11-26.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt Resolution 11-26, and I will give background. In our meetings in January, I presented and discussed that Chief Ruffin had identified roughly $26,000 in the public safety appropriations line or appropriation category in the budget, and it was appropriated to vehicle repairs. Based on his projections and analysis, those funds could be moved within the same appropriation category to offer cost of living increases to support retention and retainment of officers in Forsyth Police Department. Upon further review, although the category of spending is the same, because it affects the compensation and wages for the officers, in a certain section of the charter, namely section 33-69, the council from time to time will approve or set the compensation of employees. And so this resolution is before the mayor and council to formally vote and to solidify this change by resolution. I'll also close with the fact that the change does not increase the expenditures for the town. The overall expenditures for our budget in FY26 remains the same. We are simply moving the line. They're moving from a vehicle repair line to the salary line for the officers. And there was an attachment that shows the increase in salary. And this is for sworn officers that are full-time. Is there any discussion on Resolution 11-26? Council President Noble.
Yes, just the question. Since the funding is coming out of repairs, what happens if we have repairs? Because I guess my understanding that it would the funds will come from like vacant positions, where salaries already existed, but there was no person in that position. So what happens if we have public safety repairs in the future? in this
Yes,
fiscal year?
yes. Thank you for the question. There's still approximately $70,000 budgeted for vehicle repairs. So although the line is decreasing, there's still a substantial amount of money that is there. And the line was increased last year after noticing an increase in vehicle repairs, but Chief Ruffin is dedicated to effectively and proactively managing maintenance and also having extensive repairs approved by him before they happen. Council Member Brownson.
Yes, this resolution is after the fact because the public safety employees have already gotten a raise without approval, the proper approval from the council. And secondly, it says that it's for police officers. And in this chart that it sends, it's more than police officers listed here. You have the police clerk, you have the technology officer. So they're not police officers for that raise. And if it is a cost of living, public works and administration, they have money that they can move around for a cost of living as well. So for a cost of living, do you just give one department versus the entire employee, all the employees of the town of Forest Heights? Because when you do a cost of living, it seems as though that should be for everyone versus one department. And then furthermore, if it's for police officers, the more than police officers have already been paid out of this without council approval.
Thank you, Councilmember Brownson. Yes, I acknowledge that although this was discussed, there was another step that we need to take, and that's why we're here with the resolution. On the officers or on the employees who are receiving the increase, I'll go to Chief Ruffin just to confirm we're on the same page.
Yes, only the officers have received the raise, not the part-time officers, just the full-time officers did receive the cost of living increase.
But so has
Just
the police.
a moment, Council Member Brownson. So out of the other people that she called out, the police clerk, is that someone who's included?
No, the police clerk nor the technology officer got the raise.
It's on the chart. It's on the chart. If you look at the cash disbursement, it's the cash disbursement thing.
Okay, just a moment. So now Mr. Frankenfield is in the meeting and has come off mute. Sir, can you touch on the items or the lines or the actual members receiving the increase?
Yeah, I'll have to go through payroll to confirm who 100% got the raise. The chart's the supplementary schedule. So there could have been a disconnect on which staff members got the raise, but it didn't change the amounts of the raise or who was getting the raise. The chief's explanation is the gospel there. So I don't think it undermines the authority of this resolution if we didn't quite pick up the right staff that received the raise. If you want me to audit the payroll, I will and confirm that only the full-time officers receive the raise. But I acknowledge that chart might be slightly off just because we weren't privy to 100% of who got the raise and drafting the chart.
Council President?
Yes. I guess for the cost of living pay increases, if we could confirm that, and also, and this is a question, can we look across the board, how much would that cost the town for the remaining employees? So that it's consistent, cost of living.
I'll add to, for the council, we did it mid-year specifically for retention with police department. We, in the fiscal year 27 budget, are planning to provide this across all departments. And one of the interesting things that happened is our administrative team is all new. compared to we have officers who've gone through several budget years where they may not have received an increase. So the majority of our administrative staff have been hired within the last 12 months. And so they wouldn't have received the cost of living increase yet. But we are planning to make sure that it's equitable across the entire department, or the entire employee staff going into FY26.
Okay, and just the last thing, since this is an attachment, I think it would be, and it's something that we need to vote on. I think if we could hold this resolution and have the corrected attachment to it, added to it, or verify that this isn't the attachment. Thank you.
Councilmember Kennedy?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with both the elected officials that just spoke. It would be nice to have things, our I's dotted and our T's crossed, because once we vote on this with the attachment, we're voting on the attachment regardless of what anyone else says. What's on black and white is what holds weight, not, what we said in the meeting. So it would be nice if, 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is 4. We're jumping from 1 + 3 is 20 and saying that it doesn't matter. That's not what the intent was. The intent is what we vote on, what's in black and white. So in the future, if we can spend a little bit more time and make sure everything matches, I would definitely appreciate that.
Thank you, Councilmember Kennedy. Noted. I agree. That's why we brought the resolution in, so we can vote with finality and transparency and clarity. Let me go to Councilmember Brownson, but I think we may be leaning toward giving ourselves some time to make sure the attachment reflects what leadership in the council wants to approve. Councilmember Brownson.
All right, so I do want to iterate that they were paid and without council approval, and that did violate the charter. I do want to reiterate that. And then with the cost of living, it's not about the employees that just came on board. The cost of living is for positions, not for individuals. So if someone come tomorrow, that 3% cost of living will be reflected in their salary, whether they just got here yesterday. So it's not like we're going to hold off on general government because they haven't been here long enough to get a cost of living increase. That's not equity, and that's not the right thing to do.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad we don't have to agree on everything. Okay, so I move that we postpone resolution 11-26 until our next meeting, which is scheduled for February the 18th, 2026.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we postpone resolution 11-26 until our next meeting on February the 18th. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it, and the resolution is postponed until our next meeting. Councilmember Brownson, I see your hands up.
Yes, I just have a question. Will they continue to be paid while the resolution is being drafted? At this, I mean, they've already started being paid as of January or December. So holding up this resolution, is that going to stop them from the increase, or is it going to go on as if nothing has never happened? So how does that work?
Let me go to Councilmember Kennedy. Thank you for the question. Councilmember Kennedy.
The main thing that I keep hearing being said is that this is for a cost of living increase. I thought one of the main objective with this was employee retention since we, had lost several employees in a particular department.
Yes, retention is one of the main objectives of this. That's correct. What I would ask is, what's the will of the council? I acknowledge that when we went back and reviewed, we saw we needed an additional step. Even though the funds remain in the same appropriation category, we still need the resolution to pass, and we had discussed it openly and publicly. What does the council wish to do in this situation? I believe we can offer an expedited review of who's being paid. That can happen this week. It can happen before the next payroll cycle so that only the members that Chief Ruffin and the council intend to receive the increase will be receiving it. We can have a confirmation of that be sent to council between now and next meeting. And then we'll have the resolution back on the 18th to formally enshrine and to approve the raises as we discussed them today. Is there any thought, Council President?
I think the last thing we may want to think about is it just, Councilman Kennedy said, is it cost of living or is it retention? So again, cost of living, we want to think about all employees as opposed to retention for the police department, I think is independent of the entire staff. So I think we may have to look at the wording again for the resolution or consider cost of living across the board.
Is there someone who wants to offer a motion? We can entertain a motion to amend or to make some changes while we're here, if there's a desire to do so.
I make a motion that we amend resolution, hold on, which resolution is it? I can't.
11-26.
Resolution 11-26.
Could you just give us a little more, tell us what you'd like to amend?
Oh, I'd like to amend to include the, I guess the language that everyone would be considered for the COLA.
I second.
Well,
just a moment. So we have a motion on the floor. I just want to make sure we clarify the motion was correct. Councilmember McDonald, that was your motion is to extend the COLA to all employees, or was it to
extend it to all employees? Yes. That was my motion.
Okay. Councilmember Hines, were you seconding to that motion?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I was. I second.
Okay. There's been a motion and a second to amend the resolution extending the cost of living increase to all employees. All in favor? Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
I oppose because
I oppose. Oh, I'm sorry.
This sounds like we're contradicting what we just said.
Yes.
So it's like we're in 4 different places at this moment. I think the main thing we need to do is figure out if this is a COLA, because I was under the impression that this was to retain the employees that were basically bailing out of this ship.
Okay, so now what we need is a roll call for each member to find out where we stand.
Well, I thought the original thing was we were going to table it.
Yeah, we did.
Postpone it to next meeting.
Yeah.
We agreed to postpone, and there was a motion on the floor to make some amendment to it as it stands. And that motion's on the floor now, so we need to have each member declare if they are voting yay or nay on amending the resolution to include all employees. Madam Clerk, can you call?
Councilmember Hines,
Yes, I'm saying yes.
thank you. Councilmember Kennedy,
I'd have to say no, because this still isn't clear.
Councilmember Brownson,
It's not clear to me either, and plus it's after the fact, and I don't think any of these amendments should be voted on.
Councilmember Little,
It's a no for me. I think we need to focus on one section at a time. So maybe let's focus on what this really is, if it's a COLA or if it's a pay raise increase for everyone. And then if we're just doing department by department or the whole staff.
Councilmember McDonald,
Yes.
Council President Noble,
No.
Mayor Lilly.
No.
This particular motion fails.
Okay. We have voted to table this motion or this resolution until our next meeting. Not just now. So the motion fails to amend the resolution to include all employees. We voted earlier to table this resolution until our next meeting, but I want to bring Chief Ruffin in just one more time. Go ahead, Chief.
I just want to make some clarification. I was under the impression of one thing, but the clerk and the technology officer were included in the raise. So I do apologize. So they did get it, and the line item is correct as of right now. However, the number did not change. The budget number is still the same for how much we used and how much is left, and for them. And it is looking to, the goal was for a retention to have these guys stay to make sure that they have gotten raises, because they hadn't gotten any in a while. And that's what we wanted to push to kind of keep them there, because of how much it costs to bring new officers in, even down to our clerk and our technology officer. But I just wanted to make that clarification before we move forward.
Okay, so the total of $26,000 includes raises for everyone that's listed in the document that's attached, so the document is correct and accurate, and the purpose is for retention. We've cleared that up. The last item is, does the resolution refer to only sworn officers at any place? If it doesn't, then this still meets the intention of the action that was taken. I'm going to read the resolution in full, actually, because we may be able to handle this right now. It's very short. It says, a resolution of the mayor and council of the town of Forest Heights, Maryland, improving officer retention in FY26 by redirecting public safety funds to cost of living pay increases, introduced by Mayor Troy Barrington Lilly. Whereas Section 33-69 of the Town Charter of Forest Heights states the compensation of all officers except the mayor and councilmen and employees of the town shall be set from time to time by a resolution passed by the council. And whereas a cost of living adjustment is being adopted to offset inflation costs and is deemed a benefit and retention tool to support and retain officers. Whereas the updated FY26 budget book revision allocates appropriations within the existing public safety budget, and whereas the redirection of public safety funds shows an increase in public safety salaries and a decrease within the public safety repairs line items. The account increase is 907-7001, description public safety salaries. Change is $26,315. The account decrease is 9007-7132. Description public safety repairs. The change is $26,315. Now therefore be it resolved that the public safety salaries, both old and new, have been provided, and the cost of living adjustment, COLA, is approved as a benefit and retention measure to ensure the continued recruitment and retention of qualified officers, and be it further resolved that this resolution shall take place effective immediately upon adoption, passed the second day of February 2026. That's what the resolution states. Do we still need to postpone? Are we ready to vote tonight? Or will we let the tabling of the motion of the resolution stand for next meeting?
I don't have a problem voting on it tonight. Now that that was cleared up.
Okay. I move that we adopt resolution 11-26.
A second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt resolution 11-26. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hines, Councilmember Kennedy,
Yes.
Councilmember Brownson,
No.
Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Councilmember McDonald,
Yes.
Councilmember Hines, do you see that, Councilmember?
No, no. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Council President Noble,
No.
Mayor Lilly,
Yes.
excuse me, 4 yeses, 3 nays, the motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next on our agenda, and that concludes legislation for action. I remembered that earlier, Councilmember Brownson had a question for Chief Ruffin that we were going to go back to before we move on in the agenda.
My question was, in his report, he mentioned an incident at Audrey Lane. And my question was, did we annex down to Audrey Lane?
As far as I know, let me pull it up real quick just to make sure I get what you have.
It was the fourth bullet.
Councilmember Brownson, if I may, we did annex
Yes.
the access road and 210, and I believe the 13th or 14th annexation.
Okay, so we did annex Audrey Lane.
Not Audrey Lane, the access road to Audrey Lane and 210.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we will go into the next item on our agenda. We have a proposed closed session. Just one moment. Right. I move that we go into closed session under the general provisions of Article subsection 3-305. And this is for reason 7, to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice. And the topic we expect to discuss is negotiations of a particular contract that is existing. The reason for closing the session is to discuss negotiations without revealing the town's strategy, and to get advice from our attorney on the legal implications. Is there a second to go into closed session?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we go into closed session under the subsection of the general provisions of Article subsection 3-305 for reason 7, to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hines,
My phone is acting, yes. I'm sorry.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Yes.
Councilmember Brownson,
No.
Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Councilmember McDonald,
Yes.
Council President Noble,
Yes.
Mayor Lilly,
Yes.
6 yeses, one no. The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, members of the public, at this time, the mayor and council will go into closed session. We will come into open session after we have concluded our discussion. We'll give a report of who attended the closed session, what topics we actually discussed, and any actions that we have taken. You are welcome to wait until that time that the meeting resumes when the closed session is concluded. And the time of the closed session is 9:26.